Bills Mafia, what is going on? Welcome. Welcome to Buffalo Late Night here on a Thursday on the Cover One Sports Network. I am incredibly glad that you guys have joined us tonight. Got a great show, got a lot to talk about, and I am your host, Thomas DeLoss. Glad that you've chosen to be with me, with us, with the show tonight, and we'll get right into it. Again, if you are tuning in tonight, or if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcast, however you choose to listen, happy Friday to you. You can find our show free on all social media and streaming platforms, including Spotify or YouTube. And if you choose to pod somewhere else, feel free to hit that subscribe button so you can choose to tune in every single week whenever you choose to tune in. If you're on Twitter right now, feel free to hop on over to our YouTube page, be part of the conversation. You can hit that notification button and subscribe button. That'll let you know every single time one of our Cover One shows is live. Also, guys, we are in the thick of it for the NFL season. So make sure you subscribe to the Cover One Pass. It'll let you know every single time one of our shows here is live on the Cover One Sports Network. And it'll also give you the best analysis, best coverage, and all that good stuff that you're looking for. So make sure you take care of that. But guys, we got a ton to talk about tonight, and I want to get right into it. We got some stuff to talk about. If you have been paying attention to me on Twitter, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll know I've been getting into it with some fans, including Dolphins fans, about the AFC East, about conditions that you play under, and I'm going to get into that. I have some grievances to air. I'm ready to chop it up with you guys. Also, we're going to be talking about the roster and how it pertains to what's going on. And then, of course, we're going to be talking about that schedule. I know Greg and Aaron covered it beautifully yesterday night. I'm going to be talking a little bit more in depth about that, what I think, how that, kind of pertains to the Buffalo Bills and what to kind of expect in terms of what's going on right now. So lots to talk about, lots to get into. But let's hit it right on the head. Let's get into this. And John Roberts said it perfectly. OTAs start Monday. So lots to talk about there. Lots to get into. Go Bills. Absolutely. Again, guys, glad you guys have chosen to be here with us tonight on Buffalo Late Night on Cover One. But let's talk about it. So this past week, I have gotten into, if you know me on Twitter, I have a tendency of stirring the pot. And I got into it a bit with some fans of other teams, including Dolphins fans. And basically, more or less, what happened, yesterday night, right? Listen, Roy, you always got to be hypercritical of me. My screen font is too small. My verbiage is wrong. I'm sorry. But so I got into it with Dolphins fans because Dolphins fans were talking about how the fact that they were mad that the Bills are playing the Miami Dolphins at 8:15 week 2 on a Thursday night. And the big thing for them was that their home field advantage is playing in the sun. So I want to talk about that because of the fact that it rubbed me the wrong way. If we're being honest, I don't know why I got Italian there. I apologize. My issue with this, with all of that, and a lot of people have kind of talked about this. When you come and play in Buffalo, right? When you step foot in Buffalo, both fan bases and both teams are playing in the cold. There is no respite. I mean, they might have heaters on the sidelines, whatever. But for the most part, you're playing under the conditions that your opponents are also playing under. Your fan base that might travel to the stadium are also dealing with the same thing the opposing fans are dealing with, or the home fans. So my issue with all of this is same with 30 other stadiums, right? 31. My problem with this is that the Miami Dolphins, when they constructed their new stadium, made it so that one team had shade, and that was them, the home team. The other side is that the opposing team, if they played in the months of September or October in a 1 p.m. game were going to be playing under temperatures that were similar to that are on the sun. So my issue with that is that, if you saw the Bills when they played there a couple years ago, they went through like 53 guys. They brought 53. They went through 53 because guys were going down. Stephon Diggs had IVs in both of his arms. Josh Allen was cramping. I mean, how many times have you seen Josh Allen hop a pass? How many times has Josh Allen short-armed a ball? It doesn't happen very often. Josh Allen's got a pretty goddamn strong arm. So for him to short-arm a throw means there's something going on. But my issue with all of this is the fact that is it true that if Dolphins aren't using cooling fans, then the opposing team can't either? I don't know exactly if that is true, but what I do know is that their side of the field, the entirety is shaded. Not like, they have providing the typical shading apparatus. Their entire side is shaded. And there is a 20 to 30 degree difference when you have that shading to when you do not. So my issue when it comes to Dolphins fans sitting there and having a conniption about all of that, and as to them thinking that the Bills have some type of coddling factor, that the NFL loves to give Josh Allen everything he wants. The Bills, when they go to that stadium, are at an extreme disadvantage. Not just a slight, an extreme disadvantage. And I'm not crying wolf, but the Dolphins fans who want to sit there and say that the Bills have it easy, every other team in the NFL that goes to Miami is dealing with the same shit. And on top of that, every other team, when you go to their stadium, it's equal playing field. Equal. There is no advantage besides maybe the home crowd, that is football. Your home crowd is your advantage. That's fine. I'm here with it. But outside of that, if you have a distinct advantage based on the construction of your stadium that causes not only an OSHA issue, but a legitimate issue that causes the team that you're playing against to have not even just like an uncomfortable environment, but something that is unhealthy, that's a bit of a problem. And that's why I think this whole situation is wild, because if you look at it, right, and if you look at who the Bills are playing this season, they're actual AFC teams, right? You got the Dolphins, the Jets, the Patriots, and the Bills. 3 of the 4 of those are in the Northeast, which means from October on, most of them are dealing with some type of cold weather ailment, right? Some type of element to their stadium that is potentially, whether it's heavy winds, heavy rain, sleet, snow, extreme cold, anything. So all 3 of those are dealing with those teams 6 times, right? 2 of their own, and then 4 with the other team. Then the Bills, right, when they're playing away, because obviously when they play home, there's potential from, even September in some instances, but we'll say if they're, from October and they're playing only 2 games in September. So the other 6 games are October 20th, November 3rd, November 17th, December 1st, December 22nd, and December 29th are all home games. So they are dealing with adverse elements from their week, their third home game on. Now, here's the other switch to that. September 29th, October 14th, October 27th, and week 18, which is not a solidified date. 5 more games on top of the other 6 are all cold weather element stadiums. You've got the Ravens, the Jets, the Seahawks, and then the Patriots at the end are all cold weather elements. So the Bills have a situation where there is more than an opportunity. The Bills will have a much more disadvantage, or much more of a disadvantage in their situation than the Dolphins ever will. And I had to listen to Dolphins fans sit there and tell me, oh, well, they have to play in hot weather. Yeah. You know how many Bills players would much prefer to play in warm weather all year long, or 8 games out of their 16 or 17 in warm weather. And then on top of it, the other games that the Bills are playing are in domes. So the Dolphins have 8 games at home. Well, excuse me, minus one of them, which is overseas. And then there's other games that are also in warm weather or domes, minus the AFC games. This weird situation that the Bills get put into, that the Dolphins fans like to sit there and rattle off as to what, the NFL's trying to help Josh Allen. Trust me, it's not the case. It's not the case whatsoever. And in fact, Josh Allen does not get any benefit of the doubt. I know, yes, did they change the overtime rule? That was for the benefit of the league. Yes. Have the Bills had games moved because of weather? Yes. Because they can't put a dome over the entire city of Buffalo. And it's more so because of the travel. This whole thing is ridiculous. By the way, cheers. And if you haven't tried, by the way, the new Jenny Kolsch Mango Peach messed that up. The Jenny Beer Mango Peach Kolsch. Give it a whirl. It's delicious, I promise. I feel like I'm the Rock Pile Report. I should do Drew's little ridiculous yell at the beginning, but I'm not going to steal his thunder because he does it very well. Needless to say, side note, guys, make sure you hit that thumbs up. I do very much appreciate it. And rate, review, share really means the world to me. But before we get any further, what I want to do is, I talked about the Cover One Pass. Aaron Quinn, Greg Thompson at the Cover One Buffalo podcast. They tell, better than anybody else. So, guys, take it away.
Many people ask us the best way to support us here at Cover One, and that is to sign up to become a Cover One Pass member. That contribution helps give us the access to all the data and information we use to create the content that you love.
And I think most importantly, brings you into our community of insiders. It's a great community based on Slack. I know a lot of people don't want to be on social media anymore or be in on those conversations. We bring all of it to you right in our great community of educated fans. And most importantly, you get access to our content creators.
Even better than that, everybody loves merch. You get awesome t-shirts, a cool decal, and a letter from the Cover One team signed directly to you.
All for $60. That gets you the entire season, next year's free agency and draft. $60. Click the link in the description. Cover One Insider. Become one today.
There you are. That is Aaron Quinn and Greg Thompson telling you, all about the Cover One Pass. And by the way, Ian sent me a little information. Miami historically is still in the 80s at 8 p.m. in September. So the Bills have absolutely no favors because the fact that they're still playing in warm weather at that time. But you know what? Josh Allen, call him daddy, Miami, because he is 10-2 when you've played him. So they can sit there and cry all they want. It is what it is. I think that at the end of the day, you can only do so much. And the reality is, the Bills have the roster in front of them and the team that they can do the best with. And when it comes to who they play, when they play it, they deal with it. And they've dealt with it. So let's be fair. But another thing I want to talk about, and I mentioned this last week, and boy, oh boy, it made me heated because I'm tired of people talking about this stuff. And it's something that I think, man, I don't know why it keeps coming up, and I seriously don't understand it, but it makes me really, really, really mad. Every single year for the past couple of years, there's an inordinate amount of people that believe that the Bills are regressing, that the roster has gotten worse. And again, this conversation continually comes up that the Bills roster is getting worse, that the Bills roster is regressing, that the Bills have lost this inordinate amount of players that have made them so much worse. And so let's talk about that because I don't know why, truthfully. And I'm going to sit back a little bit because give myself an ulcer. But dear Lord, let's talk about this. The Buffalo Bills this offseason lost a few players. And I'm not going to get it all twisted up that they didn't, because they did. They lost Stephon Diggs. They lost Gabe Davis. Those are going to be important pieces, right? They're two wide receivers that basically amounted for 200 receptions. I get it. Okay? I think my kid is screaming. I apologize. If you can hear a baby in the background, that's my son. I apologize. But I did take my angry man pill tonight. I am very emotionally charged up. So Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis are gone. I get that. You know what? It is what it is. But let's be fair. You know who this offense is going through? You know who it is? It's going through Dalton Kincaid. And I want you to understand this. And if other fans are listening, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. You could listen to what I say and take it, and I will old take expose me. People have done it to me before. It's fine. I don't care. If you want to keep a receipt on this, do it. Dalton Kincaid is the Bills' new Travis Kelce. And I'm not saying he's Travis Kelce, going to be a Hall of Famer. If he does, God bless him. I hope so. But that's how this Bills offense is going to run. It is going to funnel through Dalton Kincaid. He's going to get 130 to 140 targets this season. He's going to be the absolute focal point of the Bills offense. And then you're going to see the rest of it fill out through James Cook, Khalil Shakir, Curtis Samuel, Keon Coleman. This weird conundrum that the Bills don't have talent, or there's this drop-off, or there's things going on. It's not. I swear to God, Spin. The Bills have weapons to be able to continue on. This weird feeling that the Bills don't have options in the offense is an absolute mind-blowing statistic. It's not true. Dalton Kincaid is a fantastic tight end, and he's only going to get better. Look at what he did in his rookie year. If, by the way, I'm Italian. If I get emotional and I sound like I'm mad, I'm not. I'm just I'm feeling it. And for people that are listening on Spotify, sometimes it's easier to watch on YouTube. You see how ridiculous I look. And I'm smiling. So, I sound mad, but I'm happy. Kind of. But, okay, let me continue. So, Dalton Kincaid, focal point of this offense. He is everything. He is going to be everything to this offense, right? Yeah, Roy, listen. We're not playing this game. So, Dalton Kincaid is going to be where it funnels through. It's not an issue. Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, Curtis Samuel, James Cook. That is 5 very good options. You've also got Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who was added. Nice vertical threat that they can now press the secondary of the opposing team to keep those safeties back, to add respect to the Bills' offense. That's a big piece to this. We don't know what KJ Hamler is, right? We don't know what Justin Shorter is. Everybody's favorite sensation, Tyrell Shavers. We don't know. Maybe I'm bipolar. Maybe I am. Cheers. The Bills offense has enough options, even though they lost Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. And I'm not trying to say that Stephon Diggs leaving is a good thing. Stephon Diggs, even lesser Stephon Diggs, a guy that's regressed, is still better than a lot of receivers in the NFL. He's a still very talented option. And the Bills didn't get better when they lost him, or traded him for that matter. When Stephon Diggs left the Bills, they did not get better. In fact, the stream is panicking me right now. I feel all murdery. Laura, I'm here for you. I am your respite to go watch Law and Order SVU later. Laura SVU later. That was a terrible. I thought I'd get there. It didn't happen. I have that effect on people. Jesus. I really try very hard. Oh, dear Lord. Every single time I have my show, it goes off the rails because you guys just send me on a wild goose chase. So, obviously, with the options that we have, there is a plethora, and I think James Cook is going to be a big piece to this offense, both in the backfield, out of the flat. I think they're going to utilize him all over the place with Joe in his offense, just really trying to create so much separation by guys that utilize separation and speed. I think the offense is going to be, what Joe Brady makes of it. The other side of that, and I had this conversation today, and that the Bills' defense has regressed. The only part to last year that the Bills are not trotting back out is Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. Now understand, I love Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. Truly. I have said, and if you listen to me, if you listen, I have many occasions said that they should be on the Hall of Fame or the Wall of Fame for the Bills one day. Together. They should be inducted together. They're fantastic. What they did for the Bills, it may not ever be duplicated. The 7-year span, the quality of play, the Pro Bowl, the All-Pro, unbelievable. But let's be fair. Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde last year were not those guys anymore. The physical drop-off was massive. The injuries were big. They were a liability. Heady players, super smart, very, very intelligent guys, knew where to be. But the problem, they just didn't have the speed to get there anymore. They didn't have the ability to pair the speed with the ability to be so smart. And that's no detriment. I love the guys. And I hope to one day that they retire Buffalo Bills because they meant everything to this franchise. Micah Hyde said today, because he's doing a softball thing in Buffalo, it's either Buffalo or retiring. He said he would never want to play anywhere else. Buffalo was everything to him. The Bills lost Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, and it is a big deal in the fact that they were two captains, two smart players. But the reason they didn't have any competition is because who brings in competition for all pros, captains? You had Taylor Rapp. He was a good amoeba safety guy, 3 safety sets. It's awesome. But you brought in Mike Edwards, who was very, very, very good for the Kansas City Chiefs. And then on top of it, they brought in Cole Bishop. And Andy, I like it. If there's one thing McDermott knows how to do, it's to coach up a secondary. And I mentioned this today, in fact. In fact, just that. I mentioned the fact that the Bills, from the bye week on, allowed 16.8 points defensively. And they were playing with an absolutely gutted roster. They were playing with a skeleton crew of their team. The fact that they were able to do that without Milano, without Daquan Jones, without Tre'Davious White, through 3 all-pro pillars. And now, mind you, we lost Trey, but I mean, did we really ever have him for the past couple of years? He's been injured, and I mean, it is what it is. But if you look at this team, right? If you look at the Bills and where they're at right now, the Bills are getting Milano back. They've got Terrell Bernard. They're going to have a full season of Rasul Douglas. Another year of one of the best young safeties in Christian Benford. Kyer Elam learning under Jamil Adai, the new cornerbacks coach. You have a defensive line filled with Ed Oliver, who is one of the most underpaid defensive linemen, who's becoming a very, very good piece to this Bills defense. Another year of Rousseau. Another year of Epinesa, who got paid. The potential return of Von Miller to form, and anything we get from him is gravy because he was non-existent last year. So think about it. Anything that you get from him will be gravy. Then you've got additions like Dwayne Carter. The Bills defense, they didn't get worse. If anything, they got younger and they got more upside. So this weird feeling that the Bills roster isn't what it was or is regressing, when you've got Josh Allen and you've gotten younger and you've gotten better, that's a big thing. And I like this. I think Josh throws way less interceptions, receivers catch passes, run better routes. We run better, and despite losing OG players, our D is going to be elite under McDermott. We're going to get a team that knows how to win. I love that. Because I actually mentioned something about this recently. They throw less interceptions. One point of emphasis, and it has to be, because if you look at what they did, you got Shakir, you got Kincaid, but they went and got Keon Coleman, who had one of the lowest drop percentages, as well as Curtis Samuel. The Bills made a point after what happened with Stephon Diggs dropping a pretty much would-be touchdown. Trent Sherfield dropping passes. Gabe Davis was butterfingers, and I love Gabe and his team. Butterfingers. He had a 50% catch percentage. They want guys that can catch the ball, and it's a big problem for the Bills. A big problem for the Bills. They went ahead. I got to take off my hats. Give me a headache. I'm losing it. They went ahead and got guys that they knew Josh could rely on. That's what they did. They got guys that will help them. And they brought those guys in to make Josh's job easier, not harder. Because as much as I love Diggs and Davis, when the Bills were at their best, Cole Beasley and John Brown were catching everything that went their way. We want to make Josh's job easier, not more difficult. You already have to go through Mahomes and Burrow and Herbert and, C.J. Stroud and Aaron Rodgers if he comes back and Tua Tagovailoa. The AFC is, loaded. You don't need to make Josh's job harder than it already has to be. So I love that. I love that idea. And I don't think he'll be better than Davis, but you know what? MVS is not going to have Davis's he's not going to have the volume that Davis had. He's going to be a press the secondary, stress the secondary, cause them to have to worry about a guy that can literally run verticals or 9 routes. That causes them to be able to run more slants across the middle to open up and make those linebackers work. Excuse me. So I love what you said there. Shraboni Chatterjee. I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. I love what you said. I think that's great. Better route running, more speed, which they've gotten in absolute loads. Better hands, which is less interceptions. And if you look at Josh, a lot of those interceptions were balls that went off receivers' hands into the defenders. Huge. And I think you could. I think you could put him on the practice squad. Somebody could, try to grab him. But are you losing a lot? I don't know. My guess is MVS makes the squad. Greg Thompson had tweeted something out earlier today. I think it was his guaranteed money kind of tells that story. So back to what I was saying. The Bills roster is good enough to continue on. There's no regressing. Is there a learning curve? Sure. You have new pieces to this offense and defense. It's going to be a learning curve. You're going to have guys that are going to be stepping in and learning on the fly. That's fine. That's understandable. Side note, John, I do like that. Javon Solomon is going to be good. He's not a speed demon, 4.7, 240, but technically wise, without the height and the long arms, it's very talented. And I think learning under the guys that we got is going to be big. Oh, okay. You were kidding. Okay. Defense does need to get better, I guess. But they made some changes that I think are going to make an impact. One, your defensive line coach, Eric Washington, is gone. He went to Chicago. And then John Butler left and got replaced by Jamil Adai. I think those are two pieces that you will see will make a difference. So, big time. There you go. After Joe Brady was promoted to OC, Josh threw half the interceptions he did under Dorsey, 12-6, with 4 of the 6 interceptions thrown being non-turnover worthy passes, either arm punts or dropped. So Joe Brady is a guy that's going to be a huge proponent of ball security, but putting Josh in positions to be successful and put better throws out there. So that's big. That's big time for Josh. But let's talk about that and in terms of the schedule. Before we get into the schedule, I want to tell you guys about Underdog Fantasy. Cover One is excited to once again partner with the most dynamic name in fantasy football. That's Underdog Fantasy. I want to tell you about the easiest way to get some action in the NFL. It's Underdog Fantasy and their Pick'em game. Just pick higher or lower on your favorite or least favorite player's stats, and you can win up to 20 times your money in a single night. Underdog keeps it super simple with their easy-to-use website and mobile apps. Pick between 2 and 5 players to fill out a Pick'em entry. Get every pick right and take home some cold, hard cash. Use code COVER1. Get your first deposit doubled up to $500 by Underdog. So there we are, guys. let's get back into it. We're going to be talking about the schedule now. And I kind of want to hear about it. Before we get too deep, I want to hear what you guys thought. What is the game that you guys are most excited about? Is there a game you guys are going to go to? Because obviously I want to hear what you guys are thinking. And side note, on Twitter, if you follow me on Twitter, if you're not following me on Twitter, make sure you are. If we get to 10,000 followers on my Twitter account before September 1st, I will be giving away 2 tickets to the Bills home opener versus the Arizona Cardinals, September 8th. So make sure you guys are ahead and following me there. And then we'll get to that. But let's talk about it, guys. Ian, if you want to fix that screen, I have no idea how to fix that. We'll leave that to you. There we go. Okay. That's why I have here Ian, my brother here. So let's get into the schedule. Let's talk about it. It's a big time moment for the Bills yesterday. Obviously, it really kind of sets the table for the 2024 season. Sets the table for a lot of fans that like traveling. You know, like LaShawn German, Warlock, everybody's favorite guy. He likes to travel to a lot of games. I know Pinto Ron, another one that loves traveling. There's a lot there, a lot of different places to go, a lot of exciting opportunities. But let's get into it. Let's talk about the schedule and what this means, what we're looking at, how it breaks down. Obviously, week 1, you got the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals who drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. in the first round of the NFL draft alongside Kyler Murray. Very up-and-coming team. The Bills are going to be playing them week 1, and I think it's a really nice matchup to start off the season. You don't really know what the Cardinals are per se. Obviously, the expectation is they're probably not going to be a massive, massive game. It is a 1 p.m. game. That's correct. It's not going to be a massive game, but the Bills should come out of that and be successful in that. We did see Marvin Harrison Jr. at the draft. That's correct. I think it's a really good matchup for the Bills, a litmus test right out of the gate to kind of feel where they are, get their bearings before they get right into an AFC East divisional opponent. Week 2, the Buffalo Bills go down 90 all the way into Miami to play the Miami Dolphins 8:15 Thursday night for a big time game on Thursday Night Football. This is really where I think the Bills season begins, right? Oh, Pinto Ron too. Yeah, that's right, Ian. Sorry. The Bills season really starts right here because the Dolphins, man, having that AFC game under their belt is going to be a big time situation for them. Obviously, the Dolphins have had struggles, to say the least, against the Buffalo Bills. And I think if, you're talking about an opponent that the Bills can get out potentially to a 2-0 start, I think the Dolphins are it. I mean, if you look at what the Dolphins did, and I talked to some Dolphins fans earlier. Obviously, they lost Vic Fangio, Xavier. Why am I blanking? Xavier Howard. Excuse me, not Xavier. Xavier Howard. They lost him. He's gone. Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, both injured. Probably not going to be starting the season. They might not even play this season. They also lost Jerome Baker, their linebacker. That team is in question. It's in question. It'll be really intriguing as to how that Miami Dolphins team shows up. And we know, yes, they added OBJ, and I'm not incredibly fearful. Did I want the Bills to bring in OBJ? Sure. He would have been a nice ancillary option. Oh, and Christian Wilkins. Another one. Oh, my gosh. I am so sorry. That caught me off guard. I'm a hot mess. Pardon. Obviously, they lost Christian Wilkins as well, but that Miami Dolphins team, it's a big-time question mark as to who they are. We know Tua has struggled. Tua has been a massive struggle fest, especially versus the Buffalo Bills, and especially versus teams that are really over 500. Yeah, old OBJ. Correct. So, the Bills coming out of this week 2 opponent being 2-0, I think it's reasonable to believe that the Bills could be 2-0 here. Then you go into week 3 versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team that last year, man, in London, did the season feel like it was over? you had Matt Milano and Daquan Jones go down with season-ending injuries. Daquan came back late into the playoffs, but season-ending injuries for the most part on both of those players. A game that the Bills truly should have won, and I think they would have had those injuries not happened. This is another big-time AFC game where you're talking the Bills need to get out in front of these victories because, shortly thereafter, now mind you, this game is on Monday Night Football, 7:30 at home. So the Bills are going to play 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 out of their first 6 games are primetime games. Talk about an absolute slog to start the season. And that's the other part. The Dolphins' offensive line is an absolute tire fire. Sorry to go back there for a second. Yeah. Milano's injury was a killer. 100%. It was a big-time issue. So back to the schedule. When you get back from the Jaguars, going into week 4, you're going into the Baltimore Ravens, a team that very much should, the Bills are, and most of the NFL is believing, the reigning MVP in Lamar Jackson added Derrick Henry, which I think he's going to be great in that offense. They did lose a bunch on that team they lost. Patrick Queen, their linebacker, is no longer there. Both their running backs are gone. Yes, they brought in Derrick Henry. They lost OBJ. That's a big-time issue. They lost a bunch of their offense. 3 out of their 5 offensive linemen are gone. They're starting with 3 either second-year or rookie linemen heading into the season. So that Ravens team is in question as well. We'll see what they trot out there. Obviously, they've got Zay Flowers, a very talented young wide receiver. Rashad Bateman really needs to step up in year 4. I don't know what year he's at anymore. But that's going to be a big-time game because the Ravens, another playoff component. Another one of those teams that the Bills are going to be seeing later on that's going to be fighting for those big-time spots. That was the difference for the Bills being the 1 seed to the 2 seed last year. So that's a big matchup right out of the gate. I think the Bills can win this game. The Ravens have had a hell of a time playing the Buffalo Bills. Could the Bills be 4-0 going into a rematch of 2019 for Josh Allen? And a rematch or in a big time matchup for the Bills against Stephon Diggs. This is going to be a tough game. The Houston Texans are a phenomenal up and coming team. So when we look at the Houston Texans, right? They've got a bevy of talent on the wide receiver core. Obviously, they've got Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs. They got Joe Mixon from the Cincinnati Bengals, who's going to be their running back 1. They got C.J. Stroud. They've got Dalton Schultz at tight end. They've got a very good offense. Offensive line, headed by Laramie Tunsil, all-pro. Very good left tackle. This is going to be a game that's going to be a doozy. I think the Bills are going to be right there with them. And I don't want to be a homer say, they're going to be 5-0 heading into week 6. Any one of these first 5 games the Bills are going to be in trouble with. Any one of them. Like I said, Texans, tough opponent. The Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson is a phenom. Could he connect and figure it out? Yes. It's going to be tough. They lost their defensive coordinator, so that's going to be a big-time issue. They've lost a bunch of pieces, so we'll see what they are. Jaguars lost Calvin Ridley. We'll see what that offense looks like. Calvin Ridley, Zay Jones, added Brian Thomas Jr. We'll see. Miami Dolphins. All the issues they've got. Tua is not a clutch quarterback. And then, the Cardinals are kind of on their way. So then you move on. The New York Jets, week 6, 8:15, Monday Night Football. The first time we are going to see the Jets with Aaron Rodgers since week 1 last year when he made it 4 snaps in. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. The New York Jets have, and I said this earlier, the one team in the AFC East that worries me the most is the New York Jets. If Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy, I think the New York Jets are excuse me. Wow. The New York Jets are our biggest competition. They are the team that has a very good defense, coached by Robert Saleh. He's not a great head coach, hell of a defensive mind. The New York Jets are a very talented team. Breece Hall, one of the best young running backs. Garrett Wilson, a guy that, had he had a quarterback last year, would have blown the roof off the NFL. Added Mike Williams, bit of an injury-riddled wide receiver from the Chargers, a guy coming out of Clemson initially. But if he could stay relatively healthy, great downfield threat. That Jets team is going to be a pain in the ass. So that game in Week 6 is going to be, again, another tough one. And look at that run. Miami, Jacksonville, Baltimore, Houston, Jets. That is a tough 5-game stretch for the Buffalo Bills. And that's why when you look, right, when you looked at the splash screen for tonight's show, I'm going to bring it up real quick. Gauntlet. That was the phrase that pays. Gauntlet. Right? The reason I bring Gauntlet up is because there is a 2-stretch period for the Buffalo Bills where they are going to be tested to see how good they are. Are they a Super Bowl contender? Are they as good as advertised? Then, Week 7, October 20th, back at home after a 3-game road stint. 3-game road stint. The Bills are back home, Highmark Stadium, against the Tennessee Titans. Personally, who has one of the best wide receiver cores in the NFL. Tyler Boyd, Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins. Yes, they might be a little bit older. Really still talented. If they can put that together and Will Levis can settle down a little bit, that's a very nice offense. Tajay Sharp at running back. I like it. I like what they got there. That defense is really good. They got some nice pieces. They've added a ton. They added L'Jarius Sneed. They've got Justin Simmons, or not Justin Simmons. Why am I forgetting his first name? Simmons, defensive tackle. I'll figure it out. I do this every show. Don't mind me. Then they go the next week, Week 8, 4:05, Seattle Seahawks, October 27th. Seattle is, what are they? Geno Smith, what are you going to get there? That wide receiver core, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett, Jeffrey Simmons, thank you. Man, what a group of wide receivers Seattle has. If Geno can put it together again, another really good group of wide receivers. That's another tough matchup playing in Seattle. That stadium is loud. It's imposing. That's going to be another tough stretch. And then you go Miami. November 3rd, back in Buffalo, 1 p.m. I mean, look, guys, let's be serious here. That stretch is brutal. Miami, Jacksonville, Baltimore, Houston, New York, Tennessee, Seattle, Miami. No, obviously, on paper, it looks a lot harder. Is it likely going to be as hard on the field? Probably not. Every single year, there are teams that are better, and every single year, there's teams that are worse. So there's going to be teams in the mix here that fall off this season that are not as good, have massive injuries, maybe lose a quarterback, star players go down. It's going to happen. It's clockwork. Every single year in the NFL, they say it every year. There's 4 conference teams in the championship, the AFC and the NFC conference championships. Every year there's a new team in that mix, and it'll happen again. And that bodes well for the Bills as being a good team, but there's going to be some change. Could it be the Bills? Who knows? I sound like Jerry Seinfeld there. I apologize. Then you go to Week 10, November 10th, 1 p.m. in Indianapolis. You've got the Colts, Anthony Richardson, Jonathan Taylor, A.D. Mitchell. Very, very, very good team. Very good team. A team that I would much prefer to play earlier in the season than in Week 10. You play the Colts early in the season, maybe they haven't figured it out. Maybe Anthony Richardson isn't there. Week 10, they're in their groove. So you're going to run into a team that's either really hot or on the downswing. Week 11, the game of the year, the game of the season, the one that everybody circles, the one that everybody thinks about, the Kansas City Chiefs, right? This is the game that Bills fans everywhere sit there and say, okay, this is the matchup. You got Patrick Mahomes coming to Buffalo, surprising, because all we do is play in Kansas City. It seems like it's a rule. You play in Kansas City. Now we play in Buffalo. 425, the CBS game. This is the game. This is the one that everybody thinks about, the one that's for all the marbles and some more, right? This is a deciding game, especially right before a bye week. The Bills have done very well against the Kansas City Chiefs in the regular season. They're not going to, who knows if they'll have Rashee Rice by this point. See what that suspension looks like. It's going to be an intriguing matchup. The Bills need to get that bugaboo off their back, that monkey off their shoulder. That's Kansas City. Then the Bills head into the bye week, a very, very nice bye week, week 12. You know, have a nice little break right before they head into the later part of the season. It's awesome timing for it because right after the bye week, Sunday Night Football, 8:20 against one of the best teams in the NFL. And ironically enough, they're bookend by both of the Super Bowl teams from last year. You got Kansas City on one side, San Francisco on the other. They play both of them after each side of the bye week. So you got to play the San Francisco 49ers, a team that is super talented, a team the Bills have been connected with. Are they going to get Brandon Ayuk? Are they going to get Deebo Samuel? There's still time. Who knows? But if not, they are going to be playing a very, very, very talented team with the likes of Ricky Pearsall and Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey and Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle. That's a very good team. That's going to be a hell of a matchup. Josh has beaten them. So, to be fair, the Bills have gotten the better of them before, but a tough opponent. And when I talked about those two stretches that are very, very difficult for the Bills, starts of the second one right now. Kansas City, their bye week, San Francisco, and then you go to the Rams. I know some people don't think the Rams are that much of a worry. I'm telling you, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, very, very nice wide receiver core. They're going to be tough. They are going to be tough. So I think it's going to be very difficult. Then you move on, and you've got one of the best young teams in the NFL in the Detroit Lions, the kneecap-biting, Dan-led Detroit Lions, Week 15 at 425. It's going to be a tough game. Detroit, Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff coming off of his contract extension, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, very good defense, very, very good defense. It's another tough game, a game that the Bills are going to have to pick up their bootstraps and be ready to go toe-to-toe with a team that will slice and dice you. They will matriculate down the field and score. They're very good at it. And then you got the final three games of the season. The New England Patriots, the New York Jets, the New England Patriots. And we don't know what the New England Patriots are. It's not always ideal to have the Patriots 2 out of 3 weeks bookend the Jets. Is Drake May figured himself out at that point? Are you getting Drake May when he's heating up? A wide receiver core with Kendrick Bourne, Jalen Polk, and Javon Baker. It's a nice group. And Hunter Henry. And Ramondre Stevenson. Then you got to go to the Jets, or the Jets come here to Buffalo, and you finish the season off in Foxborough. That is a tough, tough schedule. Listening to Thomas was kind of funny. I'm here I could be for you, or Lord have mercy. I'm glad I can be here for you. My words are all messed up. My apologies. That schedule's a doozy. an absolute doozy. You are playing a lot of very good teams. And to be honest with you, I think 12-5 is probably if you could get to 12-5 in this season, I am very satisfied with that. Are the likelihood you're going to get the 1 seed? Probably not. You never know. With the AFC being as good as it is, maybe they beat up on each other. But it's going to be a tough go. It's going to be a slog. It's what I said earlier. It's going to be a very, very difficult. This is going to be the season that is going. I'll tell you, and I'm a McDermott fan. I am a McDermott believer. I'm a flag waver. Psh. This is going to be the season that could do him in. And I hate that. This is the season that could really put fans on McDermott's ass. Because of the fact that right now, this season is tough. You're right. You're right, Spin. I don't know why I don't listen to you more often. They're going to go 17-0. Screw the NFL. Screw the schedule makers. All these teams suck. The Bills are going to go 17-0. Super Bowl champions. Let's do it. No, I do think the Bills 20. Is it 20-0 or 21? Oh, it'd be 20-0 because they'd have the bye week. Correct. I think that is it 21-0? I thought 20-0 because you have the first round bye, then you're playing divisional conference Super Bowl. Right? 20-0? Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it 21-0? It's 20-0. Okay. I thought so. Not losing. You guys got to stick with me here. No, I love some of these matchups. Exciting stuff. You're going to play some very, very talented young teams. We get to see Caleb Williams in Buffalo. Cap, I'm Bills fan. They not going undefeated. Listen, Eddie. Ride the train. Not the wide receiver train, the train. Y'all got Thomas confused. Roy, listen. It's very easy to confuse me at this time of night. When you got a year and a half or one and a half year old son, when you've got a son that's 1.5, it tends to happen. And while we're doing this, I'm going to actually bring up a picture of my son. I got to show you guys a picture of my son. I haven't shown you a picture of him in a while. My son is so darn cute. It's ridiculous. This kid is so darn cute. Hold on. I'm going to send this to my brother so then he can actually share it on the screen. 1 second. Ian, here you go. I'm going to bring this to you. I just want to show you guys a picture of my son. I'm very, very fortunate to have a cute kid. There we go. Okay. I sent it to Ian. Now you can put it on the screen. This is a picture of my son. I keep saying my son. Yeah. Don't mind me. Go back to the regularly scheduled programming. So when I was talking about the roster construction, what was going on, what people thought with continuity, moving forward, losing pieces, regression, I think the Bills are in a good spot, albeit with the schedule. I think the schedule is the one thing that are going to truly dictate what's going on. Oh, look at that. That's my son, by the way. That is my beautiful little baby boy, my son Griffin. He is an absolute ham. But yeah. So if I'm tired, that's why, because I'm taking care of my little boy. It's going to be tough. It's going to be an absolutely tough season for the Bills. But I truly believe this offense is in a much better place now. Much better place now. You've got Josh Allen with better options, better hands, better separation, more speed. And I truly think, and you guys tell me in the chat, I want to hear what you guys have to think. Part of me wonders, was the departure of Stephon Diggs maybe better for the locker room? Was maybe the departure of Stephon Diggs better for Josh Allen's psyche? Because maybe Stephon Diggs was toxic. Great worker. Unbelievable receiver. But maybe he was just too much. Too much behind the four walls that are the Bills stadium. I don't know. It's tough to say. It's tough to say that, that would be the case, but it's not wild to believe, I think it's a tough situation, tough sledding, to be honest with you, because in all reality, thank you, Ian. I just don't. He is a Bills fan in the making, and I'm going to force him to be a Bills fan. It's not a bad thing. I mean, it might be bad. Josh Allen will be gone by the time he's actually like old enough to know better, old enough to make a decision about it. We'll see. Yeah, I think that's a good one, Roy. How McGovern at center and Edwards at left guard. Though I do wonder, could Cedric Van Pran Granger push to start at center? I mean, a guy that has, a lot of experience at center at Georgia, could he push? Tom, thank you. Could he push to start at center? Pushing McGovern back out to left guard and then causing David Edwards to go back to his natural position as that, jumbo package 6 lineman, but also a guy that is a utility, that Ryan Bates type of role. I think that's a good opportunity for the Bills. That offensive line in totality, I know it was tough losing Mitch Morse, but the additions by subtraction, I think it's at a wash. I think it's nice. I think we're in a good spot. Wide receivers, like I said, good spot. I think tight ends, you're going to see Dawson Knox not having that broken hand, coming back full year healthy with Dalton Kincaid, with Quentin Morris. Really good group. That running back group, much better. James Cook, Ray Davis, Ty Johnson. One of the better running back groups they've had in a long time. And then the defense. I think the defense has gotten better. I know they lost Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde, but I like Cole Bishop. I like Mike Edwards. I think it's a good move. Dwayne Carter added to the group of Daquan Jones and, Ed Oliver and Von Miller and AJ Epinesa and Greg Rousseau. I love it. Love it. In that cornerback group, a full year of Rasul Douglas with Christian Benford. Maybe Kyer Elam steps it up. You got Jamarcus Ingram. You've got Taron Johnson. I keep forgetting Taron Johnson. One of the best slot corners, nickel corners in the NFL. The Bills are in a great position. Great position. I think in totality, the Bills are in a really nice spot heading into the season. Obviously, we'll have more of this coming forward, and I do very much appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. I'm going to kind of wrap this up now. There's lots to talk about going forward. We'll have OTAs coming up, training camp following. There's going to be a lot to go forward and a lot of content here, so make sure you subscribe to the Cover One Pass. Follow me on Twitter at @ThomasDeLoss. Hit us with the subscribe and hit the notification button on our YouTube channel. Means the world to all of us. But lots of coverage coming forward for you guys, and we'll continue talking in regards. Next week, we'll talk more in regards to what the schedule looks like and how that translates, maybe some moves that might be made. Give us a prediction. Okay. A prediction about the schedule. Okay. Bring it up. Let's do it real quick. Okay. Arizona, I'm going to say it's a win. Dolphins is a win. Jaguars is a win. Ravens is a loss. That's 3-1. I'm going to say Texans is a win. That's 4-1. Loss to the Jets, 4-2. Titans 5-2. Seahawks 5-3. Dolphins 6-3. Colts 7-3. We're going to lose to the Chiefs at home 7-4. Win against the 49ers 8-4. 9-4. Lose the Lions 9-5. 10-5, 11-5, 12-5. 12-5 is my guess right there. I think that's probably what my idea. It'll change week over week based on how the Bills look, but I think that's my real quick on the fly. Guys, I appreciate you all. As always, means the world to me. Like, rate, review, send it off to everybody. Tell everybody about the show. It means the world to me. And we will see you guys here next week for another episode of Buffalo Late Night. I love you, and continue watching this team grow. OTAs, lots of fun. Next week, we're going to see Josh Allen with the boys and seeing him throwing some deep bombs to Keon Coleman. Guys, we'll see you here. Let's go, Buffalo.
The Bills make me wanna.